Hi everyone, Martha Ermias here, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. How's everybody doing today? Today is the 30th day of the month. I actually started a Facebook Live challenge on January 2nd, so Friday will be my last day. No, I think Thursday. Thursday will be my last day. Hi, Mommy. How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for joining me. Those of you who are coming in early, I appreciate you guys. And again, how's your day going out there? I hope everybody's doing great. Give me a thumbs up if your day is going really, really well. For some of you who are joining me from a very far place like Europe, it's probably very late in the evening. Every single day I've been broadcasting, for the most part. I think at the beginning it was a different time, but for the most part it's been 12:30. I've been doing Facebook Live and for the last 30 days. So today we're going to talk about, it's kind of an extension of what we talked about yesterday. We're going to talk about some of the roadblocks or obstacles in your personal growth and how you can overcome them. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Martha Ermias and I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm an entrepreneur and I have three passions: entrepreneurship, personal growth, and contribution are my passions. And this is day 30, actually not really day 30, but today is January 30th and day 28 of my Facebook Live challenge. I've been broadcasting 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, for the last month. And for those of you who've been following me, I just want to say thank you. You made the experience amazing. Just interacting, asking questions, supporting me, letting me know how the messages are helping you. And things like that, and sharing. I mean, without you guys, I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have had a lot of exposure. So for those of you who really have been sharing, I just want to say thank you for doing that. And I appreciate you for being very giving on that. So thank you so much. All right, so when we talk about personal growth or personal development, some people, they like the idea of personal development and they believe in it and they want to improve themselves, but at the same time, they probably struggle with what they need to do or how they can be consistent and things like that. So there's like some roadblocks that I think if we pay attention to it, it can help us in terms of overcoming, in terms of being able to win in the game of personal development or personal growth. Basically, when we say to win, it means that, you really do see yourself growing, you really do see yourself improving and changing, and you're happy, you pride on your improvement, but not only that, you see yourself becoming the person that you want to become and living life at the standard that you really want to live and impacting and helping others as well. So let's think of it this way. If let's say that the road to personal growth is a game, okay? There's three kinds of people. There are people who are playing the game of growing or improving or becoming better. That game, they're playing it to win. That let's say that those kind of people are type A people, and then there's type B people who are playing the game, but they're playing to lose. They're not playing the game properly, so they're not getting the results that they want. And there's also a third type of people, which is type C, who don't even know that there's a game. So they're really sideliners, they're not doing anything. So let's start with the C type of people. The C type of people, what they need is exposure and awareness and understand the benefit of engaging in your own personal growth. So, and that this session today is not for type C people. It's actually for type B people, people who understand the importance of personal growth, and to some extent they're engaged in it, but they don't see the results that they want. They're not playing to win. So what are the roadblocks? So what are some of the roadblocks that we can point out and help people or help ourselves in terms of overcoming them? Those are a few things that we want to talk about. And as I was preparing for this, I had 5 points, so today I'm going to share with you 3 points, and at another day I'm going to share with you 2 points that can really be a roadblock or an obstacle to our own personal growth. Okay, so the first one in this is negative self-talk. Okay, no, negative self-talk. Hi Fabricio, nice to see you. We met in LA about a year and some ago. Really nice to see you. So negative self-talk is one of the roadblocks of our own personal development or our own personal growth. We all have an inner critic. We all have an inner critic that always tells us, you know, why we did something wrong, or it's really telling us a very negative things about. It could be whatever mistakes that we made, or you know, it could be true. There could be some reality to it, but the way our negative self-talk talks to us, or that inner critic criticizes us, is not helpful. It's not something that could help us improve. It actually holds us from growing and from improving. And sometimes we you know, the stuff that we say to ourselves, we may not even be aware of it. We may not even think that it's a big deal, right? It's thoughts. We think it's you know, it's really not a big deal, but it is a big deal because it affects the way we feel. It affects the way our confidence, our self-esteem, and self-worth. And sometimes, if we don't control it, it could really damage our emotional and mental health as well. A lot of times, you know, it could lead to depression. It could really impair the way we function in life unless we're conscious of our own self-negative thoughts. Okay, and some people tend to be more self-critical than others. It depends on personality. It could be the way they were raised. Maybe you know, sometimes when you're raised and it's all about right and wrong, and that's how you start to see the world, your worldview becomes like that, and you become a lot more self-critical, you know, to yourself than other people who might be raised in a little bit different environment. But all of this, there's actually hope, and we can change it. Okay, and the other thing is also wanting to be right all the time is one of the things that, you know, not giving yourself room to make mistakes or to do some things wrong is also another reason why we become very self-critical. And also, some of us tend to be a little bit more perfectionist than others. You know, we want to make things right. You know, we always want to be right. We have to be perfect. That's our understanding. That's our personality. I tend to be perfectionist. That's actually I thought it was a strength a long time ago, but actually it's one of my weaknesses. And, you know, I think, I don't know, a few years back, I understood that the root cause of perfectionism is, unfortunately, ego, wanting to be right all the time, and also feeling inferior and not feeling, you know, not having the kind of self-worth that that's realistic, you know. That could be the root of perfectionism. It's just expressed that way. And that's when I understood that perfectionism was actually not a good thing. I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was about like having higher standards. That's how I saw it. Having higher standards, you want things to be, you know, good and look good and be perfect and things like that. But it actually is not. It's very self-damaging. And I've been working on that, and thank God I have come a very long way. It's something that I have to continue to work on because you know, that's basically one of my weaknesses. So I continue to work on it. So perfectionism also can make you very self-critical. And the reason for that is because no one's perfect. There's no way you could be perfect, because we as human beings, we have some strengths, we have some things that we do right, but we also make mistakes because we're human. It's something that we cannot, it's not something that we can, you know, help ourselves not doing. There's nobody that doesn't make a mistake. It could be because we don't know. It's because, you know, we become very negligent sometimes. You know, just there's human errors. So we're always going to be making mistakes. So perfectionism only holds you to a standard that's not realistic. Okay, because you're not going to be perfect. You are not perfect, and yet you want to be perfect. So it's actually really self-damaging and really not helpful, and that makes you very critical on yourself. All right, so what are some of the things that we can do to be less critical and actually avoid being very critical and avoid those negative self-talks? Negative self-talks, by the way, they're not going to help you. And the more we can conquer those self-talks or negative self-talks and replace them with hopeful and more positive thoughts, the easier it is for us to succeed in life, the easier it is for us to improve and flourish and grow and become the person that we want to become. So it's very important that we really pay attention to our own self-talks and overcome them. So the first thing that we could do is, first of all, be very realistic. Be very realistic. Accept that we're not going to be perfect. You know, we should accept that we're never going to be perfect. Accept that we're going to be making mistakes over and over and over and over again. Okay? We're always going to be making mistakes. Hopefully we don't repeat the same mistakes 2-3 times. We learn from them and we improve, but we're going to be making different mistakes, new mistakes. So embracing your imperfectionism and being okay with it. Being okay with making mistakes, and be forgiving to yourself when you make mistakes. That's the number one thing that we need to start exercising and be a little bit more compassionate towards ourselves. Okay, and the second thing we can do, and this is very, very important, is really be aware of our own self-talk. Okay, be aware of outside, and that kind of needs practice. You know, it requires practice, but it's like a habit. Not being aware of it is a habit, being aware of it is also a habit. So it's gonna need practice, but hopefully watching this video, maybe today you can make a decision to do that, and then you can start becoming more aware of it. So whenever your negative thoughts come to your mind, the tendency could be, you know, just accepting those thoughts, starting to feel bad, keep pondering on that same thought, and just continue to feel bad, and try to maybe sometimes try to ignore it or numb it out by trying to distract yourself by calling a friend or maybe watching a movie when you're feeling bad. So when we do that, we're not owning that thought, and we're not conquering that thought, and we're not making it submit to actually our positive thought. You know, you don't want to ignore it. You also don't want to be ponder on it or just stay in it. What you want to do is recognize it. Just recognize it. You know, one of the things that you know, experts say is that give it a name. That you know, negative self. Whenever there's a self-talk coming, personalize it. Say that, okay, this is, you know, give it a name, a different name. Like, let's say if my name is Martha, that self-talk, that part of me that tells me negative thoughts, I can call it maybe Mo. I don't know. I actually don't have a name for myself for negative self-talks, but I have an image of that self-talk. Okay, I recognize who that person is that's trying to criticize me inside my head. And that person I know is not loving, is very judgmental, it's all about right and wrong, it's very heartless, and very unkind. That is the kind of person that person is, the negative self-talk. That I have an image of that. And I always envision that person having like a sword, you know, judging me for doing something wrong, or for not really performing as I should, for making a mistake, and this and that, right? So personalize that person or that self-talk, the power that you have over you, personalize it, and the minute you get a thought, like a negative thought comes to your mind, imagine that, do you want to listen to that person or do you not? Okay, so immediately I catch myself and I said, okay, here it is, that unkind person giving me this information, and I immediately refuse to listen. I'm not going to listen. But what do you do with that thought instead? You know, the other person, which is the person that's going to help me construct or build up or become better, is kinder, is not judgmental, looks at things in a more neutral way without a lot of harsh judgment or harsh emotion, is very analytical, takes a look at the situation as it is, and tries to understand, like there's 3 questions that person asks whenever a negative thought comes. And the first question is, what was my mistake? What is it that I did wrong? And it's good to really understand, what is it that I feel bad about that I did wrong? What is it? What exactly is it? Okay, I did this. I could have done this, but this is what I did. Just say it and then own it. That's owning it. And then the second thing is, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? Not instead of, why did I do that? Why did I do that is a judgment. But when you say, what can I learn from this specific thing, then there's a learning experience that happens. And the third thing is, okay, what do I need to do next time? And then once you answer those 3 questions, you just have to close the chapter and let it go and move on, because you forgive yourself. You forgive yourself for making that mistake. You close the chapter and you move on. You don't stay in there. So that's one tip that can help us improve in terms of our thinking process. And whenever we're so self-critical, we can start practicing this. And the more you practice it, the more you really disassociate yourself. You disassociate yourself from the negative person that's in your head talking to you and judging you all the time about the stuff that you made a mistake, the things that you did. That's really not going to help, and it's going to make you lose in the game of personal improvement and personal development. And you have the power. You really have the power to become the person that you want to become, but you really have to avoid this one roadblock in your personal growth or personal improvement. The second roadblock that I believe can really help people if they identify it is lack of support. Because one thing, guys, is that people don't grow in a vacuum. A lot of times we think, oh, I'm going to study all these books, I'm going to read, I'm going to do this. It's like being very independent and self-sufficient. We think it's a great thing. But as human beings, we're not created to be isolated or grow just by ourselves. People grow within a community, experiencing other things with other people. In order for you to become more mature and wise, you really have to be part of a community and have a relationship and bonding with people that can support you in that process. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about what that support looks like. But in general, though, isolation or being by yourself is really not going to help you grow, because it's not going to give you an opportunity to experience that growth. Okay, so lack of support is another roadblock, or being isolated. Lack of support is another roadblock that can impair your personal growth. You really need other people to inspire you. You really need other people to learn from, and you also need other people to validate you. Okay, we all have a need to be validated, to be encouraged. That encouragement is really like a food to our soul. And we can't ignore that need because it's natural. And sometimes we think, oh, I'm gonna depend on myself, because a lot of times we tend to become that way if we feel like we can't get that encouragement. So if I'm not going to get it, I might as well not even seek it. I don't need it. But that's really not healthy. That's not healthy because it's not natural. It's not natural. And then when you're encouraged, validated, you actually are being nurtured. And because you're being nurtured, you grow and flourish better. But then how do we get support? Okay, if we need support in order for us to grow as a person, how do we get that support? There's actually 2 ways you can get support, because support comes from other people, right? Of course, relationship with your creator is going to be the #1 support. Personally, I believe that. A relationship with your creator, you draw support from your creator, and that's #1. But then the second thing is you really need support from other people. And how do you get that support? or how do you start to develop, draw and create that support? There's two ways you can do that. Number one, you have to pay for it. Okay, a lot of times, for example, like CEOs or powerful people and things like that, they pay for coaches. Sometimes they pay for hi Aman, hi Dow, it's nice to see you guys here. They pay for or they have advisory board. They have other people that support them. They have an environment of support for them to become wiser, smarter, make the right decision, grow as a person. They pay for it. Okay, that's one way you can get support. But there's another less expensive way to get support, and that is by providing service. You provide service, okay? So when you give people what they want, when you feel a need that they have, then people are willing to invest in you or to support you, okay? You create that support or that clout by providing value as opposed to paying for it. You either have to pay for it or you have to provide value or value of service. And what does that service look like? I want to give you guys an example of a friend of mine who is also an amazing business leader, a very successful person who lives in Texas. Something that he shared with me that I really, really liked. You know, when he was trying to learn from other business leaders that had a tremendous amount of success, you know, he had two ways to do it. He either has to pay them to coach him, or he has to provide what they need, right? He came up with an idea, and he created a podcast interview where he's providing service to a lot of other leaders, where by interviewing successful leaders, he would provide value to a lot of people, but at the same time, he is providing a platform for those successful leaders to share their ideas, which is something that they want, right? So he started creating that platform, and for about a year, I don't know, maybe 2 years, I don't remember how long he did it, maybe around 2 years, he interviewed different leaders at least 2 or 3 times a week. And that was a educational podcast where successful people were actually sharing their experiences, and it was really good. But what he said was, that's really what helped me. I was able to pick into their brain, and it's almost like hanging out with these successful people, and he learned a lot from them, and he actually applied what he learned and reached the level of success that he wanted. So he gained support by providing service. So that's one way we can start developing support. And the second thing is something that we all have that we can freely give is really, well, before I say that, everybody has a need. That need is to feel special, to feel important. Everybody needs to feel special and important and loved for and cared for. And we all have the power to give that. We all have the power to give that. So, when you see something great in other people, complimenting them on that is a gift. You're giving them, it nurtures them, it makes them feel good, it makes them feel appreciated, it makes them feel valued. So complimenting is one thing. And as simple as just smiling to other people, making their day brighter and make them feel better, right? Or being kinder, helping them when they need help, being that giving person, Jim Rohn says that if you give enough people what they want, or if you help them with what they need, you're going to get what you want or what you need. So being that service-hearted person and just giving what you naturally have, which is really making other people feel important and appreciated. First of all, it's a blessing to you. When you do that, you get blessed as well, because it's just the law of the universe. You get blessed by giving. But at the same time, you find people wanting more and more to support you. You start to create a group of people that are rooting for your best. They cheer for you and they want to support you. So that's how you really create the kind of support that you need. It's not how do I say this? It's being isolated and trying to live in a vacuum is not necessary. there's something that we can do about it. And the more open we are to doing about it, and the more positively we think, we start to attract the right kind of people into our lives, and we have the kind of support that we need, and that helps us grow as a person as well. And then the third thing I want to talk about is one of the roadblocks to your personal growth is not having a clear goal or a clear vision of who you want to become. Okay? If you don't have a clear vision of who you want to become, the first problem you're going to face is you're not going to be focused in pursuing that route or in continuing to play the game to win in your personal growth. So really defining who you want to become and understanding yourself and understanding where you're going and having a clear vision is definitely gonna help you. Vision is the only thing that keeps us on track and focused. Okay, you really want to define what winning looks like for you. Winning in terms of personal development, winning in terms of personal growth. Who is the person that you're trying to become? You know, that's actually one of the best things you can do for yourself, because you'll be focused and you will pursue and you will understand exactly what it is that you need to do as well. Okay, so knowing who you're trying to become. So about vision, having a vision, this is something I want to talk to you about. Actually, earlier today I had a call with a business partner, and we were discussing about some of the struggles that we have in business and things like that. And I shared with him one of what I identify as one of my weaknesses, and that is, you know, I like to help people. I like to see people succeed, and sometimes I care way too much that I kind of become a little bit protective of them not to fail. So sometimes, you know, that kind of, I don't know how to explain this, so I'm trying to explain it. So sometimes I want to protect people from failing. So if I feel like the road to their success is going to be too hard, I kind of lose faith that they can succeed. I kind of lose faith that, you know, I kind of feel like they're probably going to fail in it, so I take away the opportunity from them, which is kind of like self-destructive. And I was talking to him about that, and he said something that really, really amazed me. This is what he said. I wrote it down here. He said, "You're not afraid to fail for yourself, so stop being afraid for others to fail." That was just amazing thing, you know. And I told him, wow, that's a profound statement. You know, you're not afraid to fail for yourself, so stop being afraid for others to fail, right? So I told him this is basically a great information. And what I want to see is really me growing up to that level, you know, where I'm not afraid for others to fail, right? So I say, this is a personal growth area for me. And then he said that, you know, this is something I would suggest, you know. What does a bird do, like to her children when a bird is trying to help them grow? She pushes them out of their nest, right? She's not afraid that they will fail, but she actually pushes them out of their nest. So he said, what I suggest you do is find a picture of a bird pushing her children out of the nest, and then post it somewhere where you can see it every single day so that it can remind you. That's what vision means. You visualize something, and I would be remembering, and I'm going to do that. It's something that reminds me of this profound statement, so that I can that's what I want to become. I'm already defining a vision for myself here that I would like to become, and I'm also associating it with an image which actually makes it very, very stronger, and then you visualize and you try to work towards that. You continue to grow. So not having a clear vision of the person that you want to become is also another roadblock to your personal growth. Okay, so we just talked about 3 things that can help you. If you avoid them, that can help you in your personal growth journey. Number 1, learn how to catch and attack your negative talks. Okay, so negative self-talk is very damaging, and we have to learn how to identify it when we see it, and also what to do with it. Number 2, build support. Build support by either paying for it if you can afford it, or build support by giving and serving others, and have a group of people that support you and your goal, because you're not going to be able to grow in a vacuum. Number 3 is have a very clear vision of the person you want to become. Okay, and that's how you are going to become it, because you know exactly where you're going with it. And even to take it one step further, actually create a vision, like anything that can remind you. Have a picture and post it on your refrigerator or your mirror or something, and look at it all the time. That way you're focused on that vision, and you will eventually become it. Okay, I hope this was very helpful for you guys, and if you really like it, please go ahead and share it. That's all I have for you today. Until I see you tomorrow, I make sure you enjoy your day, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.